Time to set the stage with the lights off. Let the little nigga breathe till the fight's lost. You ain't never like the room with the bright sauce. Hail Mary, they despise what the light brought. Let them roach niggas bleed if they can't see. sa.neter TV, what you can't be. They say that murder on my mind, now they can't breathe. Take a picture of the crew, that's your last peep. Oh, I need me your love, yeah, that's just me. Keep them jumping like some frogs so they might be leave when the sun set. And they don't really wanna bleed from the gunplay. And like mine, nigga smoking weed on the one-way street, nigga. Yeah, we see we outside with it. Pull up to the base like we might be with it on guard. Side these niggas like bullshit and they fraud. Let me chop them down with the sword. Walk them down like they live hard. This the toughest you gon' be in, we too hard. And you don't really want that smoke, my G. With sa.neter TV, this the toughest environment. The toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Keep that off your lip before you get flipped. We got sauces over here, we don't just spit. Too many bosses over here, y'all just legit. Put them niggas in the game, let them get real. Don't even step unless you come in with that scholarship. That economic tip, gotta make a dollar flip. And I might be next, I don't give a damn, a truth rolling with me, so I'm feeling like the son of man. Too many gon' hate, gotta make a stand. I'm just trying to duck the lake, you don't understand. Read them when I greet them, that's my best plan. Head first shit, I'm just saying. Nigga meet me in LA, oh you just playing. Too many be fake, what the base saying. So I tell them they don't want no smoke before they end up in the newspaper next day. Smoke, this the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. And this is it right here. The toughest you gon' ever be in. You wasn't conscious before us. Y'all niggas was asleep. We woke the sleeping giant. We did it. sa.neter TV. So stay your ass in your little bitty box where you feel safe. Cause it's motherfucking monsters over here. Real monsters.
Peace and Pan-Africanisms to Brother Herman Smalls in the toughest environment you can be in.
Hear from you, good brother.
Yeah, what's going on, Reverend Charles? Remember, I told you I had a brother for you. He used to be an Israelite.
Absolutely.
He go by the name of Mandinka Mali.
Mandinka Mali, all right.
Yeah. So what's going on? When can we set this thing up, bro?
Yeah, let's talk. I'm on vacay right now, so I'm in St. Louis.
Oh, okay. All right. Have a great time, brother. When you get back, hit me up. Let me know when you're ready to get back in the ring.
I will, good brother. I appreciate you.
All right, my brother. Have a blessed time. You and your family.
You too, my brother. Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. So, Mandinka Mali, you hear him? The Reverend, he is not a pushover. I want you to know that right now. He is not a pushover. Man, listen, man. I want everybody to know, y'all already know what it is. This is the toughest environment to be in. Some people scared, some people run to it, some people run from it because they want to run to the little leagues and stuff like that, where they think they have a chance. But you know, over here, it's rough and tough to get a win, you know? And so we don't deal with no goddamn judges. You know, to be a judge, you got to be, first of all, let me explain this to you. To be a judge, you got to be smart on both ends. You got to know Kemet. You got to know the Hebrews. You got to know Christian. You got to know the African history. And you don't know all that stuff. So it ain't like you know every goddamn thing. That's why when you leave it up to the audience is like everybody's mixed in it. So you're gonna have some that's scholars in African culture. You're gonna have some who are scholars in Hebrew, scholars in Christianity, scholars in metaphysics, scholars in spirituality. You're gonna have scholarship all through it. So when you have judges, it messes it up because now you picking and choosing who I like. I like this one over here. And you don't know a goddamn thing about the topic. That's why when Nepal had the debate with Christina Nick, right? She debated the Leviticus priesthood, right? The Leviticus priesthood versus what? The Kemetic priesthood, right? And they didn't know nothing about it. So when you asked the apostle who won, he automatically said Christina Nick. But when you brought his ass up here, he didn't know nothing about the Kemetic priesthood. How you gonna know about the Kemetic priesthood? How you gonna have judges when they don't know the goddamn topic? It's a scam. That's why. That's why this is the toughest environment to be in. It's like the Apollo, goddammit. The Apollo. And you know who's the judge? It's the audience. The audience is the judge. I got to get that clip. I got to get the clip. When the Sandman jumps up off the balcony and he starts doing the tap dance and walking your ass up on out of here. Get up on out of here. We're going to have that. I'm going to get it. Don't worry about it. We're going to get it. Shout out to everybody, man, in the audience. We got a special guest today. But before we get to that special guest, he should have been here already. I don't know why he's not in the building. Mandinka, call your guests up, brother. Call them up, man.
Yeah, man. You know I'm gonna bring another one of my heavy hitters to the platform.
Hey,
Peace and
call them up. Save the talk. Get him up in the building.
Get him, man. He just got off work. He got off at 5, man. Get time to take his boots off. You know what I'm saying?
2 hours after.
Yeah, man. Hold up, I'm finna jump off real quick.
I got another show. Let me
say something. This is the toughest environment to be in. All you little rinky-dink little platforms, man. You don't even deserve me even coming over there. We're gonna leave it at that. No, I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
All right. JJ, man, I'm gonna tell you something. We got Neftali. Neftali is going after the baddest boys in town. She got Unk at the big dog, the monkey men. Oh man, she got Unk, the monkey men, going after the monkeys. You see, we got oh wow, okay. The monkeys in monkey suits and all that. So can believe, oh my God. Can belief in evolution be a sign of mental illness? That's going down, y'all. It's going down. July 19th. July 19th, 7 o'clock in the PM. So y'all be ready for that one. It's going down. That's going to be fire right there by Neftali. And then, of course, y'all, tomorrow, man. Tomorrow. That's right. We got the queen. We got the first lady up in the building. Right? And that's going to be a powerful heavy hitter right there. Y'all going to have to drop some cash for that. Y'all going to have to show some support. Whatever you can spare, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 for the big ballers. Because when I tell you that Nepal will be bringing new information that y'all never heard, she went in the laboratory and was digging up some powerful information. Fact-finding missions, Nepal Shada. She's going to show you that Jesus was not the only human sacrifice. And not only that, she's going to show you people that you would never believe was a sacrifice. Make no mistake about that, y'all. And we did some research with YouTube. Nepal did some research with YouTube and found out why my channels are shadow banned. We ain't going to reveal that to you because we don't want the people trying to do it. But we found out, and we found out how to get off the shadow ban. One of the ways of getting off the shadow ban is you liking the video. So please, in the words of Hassan Campbell, violate that like button. Violate that like button, God damn it. No wonder his ass stay above ground. You got to violate the like button. It's free. Even if you ain't donating, at least donate like that. Hit that like button, share the video, and that's how we get above the rim. Come on, y'all. Hit the like button. Only 28 people hitting that like button. I'm still waiting on my guests to come through. I'm still waiting on my guests. Still waiting on my guests. Right? I got another show, and I got Unk the God Killer at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I got Unk the God Killer, who will be responding to Mandinka Mali and Indigenous Black Man. So my guest supposed to be on time, man. He should be on time. Let me see what's up. You got to be on time here.
His wife just texted me and said he just walked in the house, so he coming in. I can warm the crowd up to you.
Okay, you would want that brother to come on, man, because I told you I got another show around 8:30.
I told him. Yep. All right. Yep.
Okay, the link is in the chat. So what's going on, y'all? Anybody want to come on before you come on? Anybody would like to come on and you know, it's the time. If y'all want to ask a question, it's the time right now to ask me anything y'all want. The link is in the chat if y'all want to. It's up to y'all. Oh, I forgot. We got Judah Naz coming on. Judah Naz will be taking on King Seth as well. You know? So that's, damn, my head is in the way. I think that's July the 5th, if I'm not mistaken. July the 5th. Yep. That's coming up as well. So the link is in the chat in case anybody would like to come up. Oh, the brother's here. Peace and blessings, my brother. What's up? Can you turn on the camera, brother?
Peace, God.
All right. Turn on the camera, brother.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
All right.
Here we go. Hold on. Peace.
All right. What's going on, my brother? How you?
It's your. I'm doing, brother. Again, like I said, it's a blessing to be on sa.neter again. Man, when I tell you that this been a grueling time for a whole month, we sat around and I compiled data to prove that African Americans were a nation before integration and the Civil War. And these people, and shout out to
before you do that, check it out. I don't want to talk about nobody. Just show your presentation. And I'm gonna tell you before you even show it, I agree with you. I'm telling you that right now. I agree 100% with you, just by the title. By the title itself. But yeah, I don't want to talk about nobody else, or what they do. Let's go on what we do right now.
All right.
Yeah. But what you can do, I will allow you to, you can talk about what happened to you without dropping names and nothing like that, or channels and nothing like that, or what you experienced and what you went through. I can't stop you from your experience.
Yeah. So the thing is
your head is cut off. Your head is cut off.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Oh yeah. So
your head is cut off.
You good?
Yeah, you good now. You still got a little bit of your head chopped off. So
yeah. So the thing that happened, right, is the back chat has politics. Like, everybody knows and understands that there's politics when we're dealing with different groups and stuff like that. So we got history with a lot of these different people back here because Naga has basically intellectually destroyed a lot of these people in the back chat, and that's why it's kind of hard for us to catch debates. Well, this is one of them scenarios. This is one of their shows, one of our rejects that we've already beat up. This is one of their shows. So we went into the debate already knowing that it was going to be some shiesty stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I was up there representing for the ancestors, for Black nationalism, for all of us who believe in separatism, secession from the state, because we don't have the same interests as the United States. Black people as a people do not have the same interests as the United States. So with that being said, we need to draw the line in the sand. At least that's what I feel, that we need to draw a line in the sand. So that's what I was doing in this debate. Like I said, it was really powerful. I wasn't expecting to learn as much as I did in this debate. You know what I'm saying? Even though I've been pro-Black for a long time, there's still so much about our ancestors that I ain't learned. And this debate really stirred up a lot of emotions. It stirred up a lot of passionate pride about my ancestors, because the story that we are told is that they just laid down, got beat up, and you know what I'm saying, basically just went along with the ride. And that's just not true. And our ancestors created thriving, organized communities all over the southeast, all over the east, all in Canada, all in the Caribbean, and we keep doing it everywhere we go because it is imprinted in our DNA to create civilizations. We are the fathers and mothers of civilization, and that ain't no lie. That is not no Afrocentric bullshit. That is the real deal.
No profanity, brother.
Okay, brother, I'm sorry.
Yes, it's all right. I just got to let you know. Yes, you're good. You're doing good. But yeah, let's get into your presentation, man. Let that speak for itself without talking about nobody or nobody else's platform. Let's just get it in and go ahead and get it in.
Okay, so I'll pop my screen up.
All right, I see it. I see it, brother. Yep.
Okay. So this right here is titled Birth and Death, Resurrection of a Nation by Nia Marte, Anukakerakt, Larian Darrell Brown, Haru Bay, tribe of Tamara Kush, Kasambu, Upper Mississippi Valley Territory, right? The reason why this is labeled Birth, Death, Resurrection of a Nation, because it starts off from us becoming maroon communities fighting against oppression to us accepting integration, us accepting the status of being included into the United States as second-class citizens, right? So that was really the death blow to our nation when we tried to sit at the table with these people. The resurrection of this nation is what we are doing right now. Currently, what we are doing right now. All of the different nationalist organizations around the world, around the world, not just in the United States, but around the world, are coming into their own statehood. They're coming back into the memory of who we were, what we once were, and we are standing on their 10 toes down, unapologetically Black, African, indigenous, whatever term you want to use. So just to keep it moving, the first thing that I did in this debate is I outlined what a welfare state is, undeniably, empirically. In the United States, the New Deal of President Franklin Roosevelt and the Fair Deal of Harry S. Truman, a large part of the domestic programs of later presidents were based on welfare state principles, and is more throughout thoroughgoing form. The welfare state provides a state aid for an individual in almost all phases of life, from cradle to the grave. The welfare state concept of government in which the state or the well-established network of social institutions playing a key role in the protection and the promotion of economic and social well-being of citizens. It's based on the principles of equality of opportunity, equitably, distribution of wealth, and public responsibility for those who are unable to avail themselves of minimal provisions for a good life. The general term may cover a variety of forms of economic, social organizations, and that comes from Britannia. In this presentation, most of my sources are in blue, red, or green, or yellow. I put those in there like that so they could jump out at you, and if you want to follow along, you could do that. Again, this right here is from the oversighthouse.gov. Right here, this is Washington. This is the government themselves talking about the subcommittee on healthcare and the financial services held a hearing entitled the examining of the growth of the welfare state, part 1, to scrutinize the enormous expansion of the welfare programs over the last 60 years, to evaluate the strategies to reform deficiencies, on and on forth. So right there, they're telling you that the United States is a welfare state based on what Franklin D. Roosevelt and Harry S. Truman did. Right here, this right here outlines the advantages and disadvantages of a welfare state. Some of these things ought to sound real familiar to you. Minimum standard of living provided for everyone, including underclassmen. That should sound familiar with you, right? A social protection, support of scientific research that doesn't promise short-run profits, and the protection of the environment. So those are things that you can see from a welfare state, but these are also the disadvantages. No freedom to choose. You don't really have a freedom to choose. You have the false inclination of a choice, but you and to how to use your income. And we
You froze up on us, brother. You froze up. You froze up. And I want to make sure your slides are moving. You froze up on us, brother. All right, I got to kick him out so he could come back in. He probably don't know he's froze up. Let me kick the brother out. So far, what I see, so far, so good. So far, so good. I love it. I'm loving it. Yeah. There you go. He's back. All right, brother. You froze up on us, man.
Yeah. Where did I leave off?
Go back to your presentation.
All right.
And you still was on the donkey page. Did you switch it or was you? Yeah.
Okay, so in this slide right here, we was I'm gonna just recap the advantages and disadvantages. The advantages and disadvantages of a welfare state, and one of those advantages is no freedom to use the resources we possess in accordance with our own values, and we all can attribute to that. We all understand that the government intrusion into your personal life and decision making. Again, that's Things like child support, like the government really is not supposed to be in your personal business doing that. The government is constantly infringing on the private sector. So like that's one of the big things that they're always talking about in government. You can see that here go the source for that is fastercapital.com, the content, welfare state, and the social economic perspective. Again, here is the criticism of a welfare state. I'm gonna blow this up just so y'all can see it a little bit better. Here we go. I'm gonna blow this up so y'all can see a little better. Right here, these are the advantages and disadvantages. And here goes some of the criticism of the welfare state. The welfare state can create a dependency culture. A welfare state can discourage work. The welfare state can burden on taxpayers, and welfare state can stifle economic growth. And we're all familiar with all of those arguments in government. Okay, right here, you can see that I have basically threw a little shot at them. You're dumb if you are a U.S. citizen by default. If you're a U.S. citizen by default, you belong to a welfare state. Checkmate. There's no way in God's green earth you're going to be part of a country, part of a nation, part and partial of a government, and you are not of that government state. Whatever state that government or that country in is the state that you in. When we have a State of the Union address, that State of the Union address is talking about all of us: black, white, yellow, red, polka dot, pink, whoever is up under the U.S. flag. So with that being said, we're going to go on to the next slide. The next slide, I brilliantly executed the definitions for tribal or tribe and nationhood. The reason why I brought this out is because of the title. The title is Black African American Nation. So I have to define that we are most definitely a nation. So again, everything that's in blue, red, yellow is stuff I want to jump out at you. In case you don't, if I read too slow for you and you know what I'm saying, you want to keep going, you can. Again, nation, race of people, common ancestry, birth, descendants, relatives, homeland, birth, breed, stock, origin, kind, race, people, tribe, be born, beget, procreation, familiar, tribal group. I could keep going on, but I think that's a little redundant. When you go into tribe, it's the same thing: social group, numerous families, clans, generations, shared ancestry, a group of persons, common character, occupation, or interest. The extension of a modern groups or race of people is from 1590, specifically a division of the barbarous race of people. Now, I highlighted the division of barbarous race of people specifically because this is one of the things that they call our peoples: barbarians, savages. You see what I'm saying? So understand that right there defines that they are not talking about Europeans. They're talking about non-Europeans. So this right here, I pointed out, well, before I even get to that, I gave us an example of these tribal nations slash black groups. That's the Nation of Islam, Black Panthers, the UNIA, the Moorish Science Temple, the Nuwabians, the Washita Moors, and then you got the Rassas and the Fawi Temple. These are all separatist groups that we're all familiar with. Every single last one of these groups are separatist groups outside of the Moorish Science Temple that have elements of integration in them, but at the core of them, they are separatist group or secessionist groups that believe in autonomy, self-reliance, and not reliance on a foreign government or a foreign people for our prosperity. So I outline what a stateless nation is: a group of people with a common culture occupying a particular territory that does not operate as an independent political unit. That's us. We don't have our own president. We don't have our own representative representing our political interests. We're using their representatives. And that's the reason why nothing ever gets done. It says a political unit with a defined permanently populated territory and has no sovereign control over its internal or foreign affairs. That's what we're doing. We got our brothers, sisters, fathers out there fighting wars. We ain't got no control over the foreign affairs. We don't care nothing about Israel or Iran. So why is our people out there fighting? We ain't getting no land out of it. They go destroy a country for some oil, some gold. None of the black soldiers get to carry no oil and gold home with them. So why we out there fighting? I'm just saying, maybe we need to step back and assess our values. Right here, this is coming straight from the Black Laws Dictionary, 2nd edition, civil or mortuus, civilly dead. in the views of the law, the condition one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted dead in law. That's what we were. We were dead in law, civil mortuus. We had a whole civil war. We had to fight for civil rights. And that was all based on our view in law. So we were civically dead according to the Europeans' views. Okay, so now we're going to slide into the next slide, which is home of the free, land of the braves. Now, the reason why I labeled this home of the free and the land of the braves for a couple of reasons. When you talk about braves, they're talking about Indian braves, Native American Indian braves. But when they talk about the home of the free, well, there's only one people on the whole down on this country, in this landmass, they got free in front of their names, and that's the freemen. So you want to talk about who the home of the free? That's us. We the freemen. And the land of the brave, those were our Native American allies that we allied with and did treaties with. We did trade with. We even intermarried with those people. So this right here goes into though long ignored by many who studied the Age of Revolution, the Haitian Revolution stand out as the only instance in which enslaved people and free people of color fought to defeat the French, Spanish, and British to end slavery and the slave trade. This successful and complicated campaign for freedom and equality began in 1791, resulted in the creation of the Second Republic in the Western Hemisphere, the Independent Republic of Haiti, 1804, shouts out, insurrection. Remember that, yo. You see what I'm saying? And again, there go my sources. They're outlined in blue, so I don't have to spend much time talking about those things. During the War of 1812, Edward Nicholas of the Royal Marines armed ex-slaves, the Red Sticks, and the Seminoles to fight alongside the British from a fort erected at Prospect Bluff in Florida Panhandle. These so-called Negro fort became the largest Maroon community ever emerged in North America. Now, I highlighted for you, largest Maroon community. Notice they're not talking about the largest African American community. No, it's the largest Maroon community in North America. It said fervently opposed to slavery. Nicholas galvanized the Prospect Bluff allies with his radical anti-slavery ideology and promise of freedom, asserting the rights and privileges equal to those of any British subject. At war's end, Nicholas remained at Prospect Bluff, petitioning American officials to respect the territorial sovereignty of its Indian allies. That's another sovereign country telling the United States to respect the large Maroon community that was in North America. That's them telling you that this is another sovereign nation speaking up on our own sovereignty. You see what I'm saying? It says Nicholas Millet examined the Prospect Bluff Maroons, constructed their freedom, shedding light to extend on the limits of their physical and intellectual fight to claim their rights. He committed settlement extensively with the Maroon communities across Americas. Now, I highlighted that part. It says Maroon communities across Americas. At first, it was just North America. Now it's Americas. That means North, South, Central, and the adjoining islands. You see what I'm saying? Emphasizes the rare opportunity offered by Prospect Bluff to examine Black consciousness during the era of slavery. And y'all could go look up Nathan Millet and the Maroon of Prospect Bluffs and their conquest of freedom in the Atlantic world. In the aftermath, now I'm taking y'all to the aftermath of 1812. Remember, I took y'all from Haiti, 1791. Now we in during the War of 1812. Now this is the aftermath of 1812. Major General Andrew Jackson ordered a joint U.S. Army-Navy expedition into Florida to destroy a free, independent community of fugitive slaves. Again, I highlighted free and independent community. That means that's without the United States. That's without any foreign powers doing anything for us. We were a free, independent community. A fugitive slave. We're only fugitives because we didn't want to be slaves. So, I mean, you call it whatever you want. It says the result of this battle of Fort Negro, a brutal conflict among hundreds of American troops, Indian warriors, and Black rebels that accumulated in the death and enslavement of nearly all of the fort's inhabitants. By eliminating the fort, the refuge for fugitive slaves, the United States government closed an escape valve that African Americans had utilized for generations. Now, listen to what they're telling you. They're saying that the fugitive slaves have been using the escape routes for generations, utilizing these escape routes for generations, not going north, going south, going deeper off into the south, into Florida, into New Orleans, into lands that our people already own, because we have been there for generations. See, they stole the South from you. They scared you, psychological warfare, terrorism, and made you run up out of there during the Great Migration. And we're going to get to that, right? So during this, it tells you that when they eliminated this and they was using this for generations, at the same time, it intensified the subjugation of Southern Native Americans, including Creeks, Choctaws, and Seminoles. During this existence, Fort Negro was a powerful symbol of Black freedom that subverted the racist foundation of the expanding American slave society. So that means that Fort Negro and those Indian allies and those fugitive slaves were literally a thorn in the side, stopping the expansion of the slave society. But its destruction reinforced the nation's growing commitment to slavery, while illuminating the extent to which ambience over the institution had disappeared since the nation's foundation. Indeed, 4 decades after declaring all men were created equal, the United States destroyed a fugitive slave community in a foreign territory for the first time and only time in history, which accelerated America's transformation into a white republic. That means once we failed it, that means this place was not a white republic at first. It wasn't a white republic until we fell at Fort Negro. It says the Battle of Fort Negro places the violent expansion of slavery where it belongs, at the center of history in the early American Republic. Now, the Battle of Fort Negro, the rise of a fall of a fugitive slave community, the largest number of survivors, including the Blacks from the surrounding plantations, were not at the fort. They moved east of Swanee River Valley and settled to Nero's Town near Appaloosa's Seminole leader Bowleg Town. Right? Some took refuge in the South in Tampa Bay. Again, they going further in the South. They not going north like we taught. Right? It says areas while other refugees founded Nicholas Town in the Bahamas. Like I told y'all, these are the same brothers that was in Fort Negro. They was in Fort Mose. These are the same brothers that was protecting York up there in Canada. These are the same brothers. It says a very large group of more than 800 formerly British colonial Marines were evacuated to Appalachia to Trinidad between 1815 and 1816. So when they talk about these fugitive slaves, they try to make it seem like these is some brothers running around with raggedy clothes, chains on, and broken English. No, these were professionally trained Marines. These were battle-hardened Marines, warriors, soldiers who fought for our freedom, who fought for your freedom. And for somebody that had the audacity to come up here and disrespect our ancestors' contributions to our entire freedom, our consciousness, is just an atrocity. The Day Battle, often called the Day Massacre, was in 1835. It was a military defeat for the United States. See, they don't talk to you about that. They didn't talk to you about how we actually defeated them. It said the Indians hadn't scalped, butchered the dead and the wounded. When they overran Dade's men, they were in a hurry. They were at the guns, ammunitions, and supplies. But when the Indians left the field, 50 Negroes or 60 in number came up on horseback, entered the enclosure, and commenced the hacking and cutting the wounded in the most savage manner, with the frequent cries of, "What do you got to sell?" When I read this, I straight scratched my chin. Like, what do they mean by this? Like, what do you mean by, yes, for every Negro that had a horse, that's 50 or 60 dead white men. 50 or 60 dead white men. And they all came up on horseback. That's an army. That's an army, y'all. They rode up on horseback, hacked them all up. They didn't care if they was dead, wounded, hacked them all up, right? And they hacking them up, yelling, "What you got to sell?" Now, why are they asking what they got to sell? Because they were selling Black people. They were selling us. That's why they was getting hacked up in the first place. So again, we're going to keep it moving to the next slide. If you can't beat them, join them. The cause for integration. Now, they're going to tell you that the white man somehow magically got a morality check. Like somehow Jesus touched his heart his dark heart and made him just, get an epiphany one day that he probably ought to treat his slave folk well. No, that's not what happened. What happened was from 1791 all the way up into damn near present day, we've been insurrection 1 year after another. Check this out. 1800, 1802, 1805, 1805, 1811, 15, 22, 31, 35, 38, 39, 41, 42, 49. That's constant pressure. That is military incursions, bro. That is not just no ragtag band of slaves. That is a military campaign carried out by no other than those same colonial Marines. Now let's talk a little bit about those colonial Marines. And again, y'all look at these rebellions. Keep in mind that these are just the famous ones that they want to tell you about. The ones that got stopped and stuff like that. This is what they want you to know. But understand, because of how close these are as an interval, there was a lot more of these happening in between these intervals. So in between 1800 and 1802, there's no telling how many slave insurrections happened. So it says during the battle, Britain lost to America. Yeah, because by then it was too late. By then it was too late. See what they not. I'm gonna keep going. It says during the battle, Great Britain lost to America. The black soldiers who fought against their ex-masters as the core of colonial Marines in the British service were later sent to Trinidad in companies where they became known as the Americans. Y'all see that? Not Americans, but the Americans. See, this is the first time, and maybe y'all know better than me, but this is the first time in African-American history where I've seen African-Americans name themselves, call themselves by a name that they prefer. They called themselves Americans. And I'm proud to say, yeah, we are Americans. If you are a black nationalist and you are in complete revolt and resistance against this integrationist, multicultural Marxist crap, then you are in the spirit of Americans too. It says the White House was burned by British troops on August 24th, 1814 during the War of 1812. The burning of the White House, along with other government buildings in Washington, D.C., was a direct result of the British retaliation for the American attack on the Canadian city of York, now called Toronto. The fire was a devastating blow to the young nation, a symbol of its vulnerability during war. Now, that right there just explained to y'all that these Americans are the ones who burnt down the White House. Our ancestors burned down the White House in a military excursion while they're trying to make it seem like we just sat around and just took it. No, we didn't. The British had hired 4,000 African-American, former slave African-Americans. They couldn't do nothing with the colonial Americans until the African-Americans joined their ranks. Once the African-Americans joined their ranks, they were able to march from one end of the country to the other, burning everything in their path. And that was the power of the African Americans, or what we call the Americans. Not Americans, but the Americans. This, like I said, I'm really passionate about this because I never heard of this. Okay, this is the nation tempered by flames, rises from the ashes, the Americans. The colonial Marines, who were the former slaves, believed the British king had come to free them, while the British saw the Black American Marines as a source of fighting power to curb American expansion. According to historian Father Anthony de Vertu, by May 1818, the refugees seem to have lived very successfully. In 1825, they produced about 2,000 barrels of corn on the ear, over 4,000 barrels of rice from a settlement comprised of 187 women, and 396 men, 300 children. So right there, they're letting you know our ancestors were industrious. They was about their business, trade, free markets. That's what they were into. The Americans were seen as model settlers for several decades. One of the hundreds who made the journey to Trinidad, most were urban artisans. So you're talking about these brothers had skill. They wasn't just fighters. They wasn't just guerrilla rebels, bro. They had real skills. Some were disappointed at the opportunity offered to them, with the result that many returned to the United States. A lot of them came back, y'all. That's why I keep saying we the descendants of these people. It's kind of hard not to be if they was coming back and forth and laying claim to things. Those who stayed were granted 16 acres of arable land to hold in perpetuity to grow crops that were needed for their survival. So again, British had already gave them the Florida lands. We took the Florida lands and they had gave it to us, right? And then they took them. Then they took a portion of them to the Bahamas and gave them land there. So they're sovereign in Florida and they're sovereign there, right? But the United States just ain't respect that. It said, nonetheless, the vast majority of natives soon abandoned Prospect Bluffs. Now, remember, this was actually set up for the Native Americans. But look what happened. Soon they abandoned Prospect Bluffs and returned to their homes, leaving 300 blacks in control of the fort. Right? So that means we had possession. Possession is 9/10 of the law. We had possession of the land. We had possession of the fort. It was ours. We took it in blood. Now, you ain't going to sit here and tell me that the white man could come here, beat up the Native Americans, take their stuff in blood, but when our ancestors do it, it ain't valid? Huh? Okay, it says, an additional 300 to 400 runaways were estimated to have augmented the numbers by this time. A letter from General Gaines on May 14 declared before Nichols had ever left, the Black Maroons already took possession of the fort. They said the Seminoles, who were in awe at the hundreds of armed blacks in vicinity. What does hundreds of armed blacks sound like to you? That's called an army. Hundreds of armed blacks. It said for a period, William Simmons claimed that the Seminoles were in a place of the worst of all conditions, being up under a dolorocracy, which is the government of slaves. Our stores are broken up with considerable losses over and above that. Our cattle been eaten by the plunderers, and Negroes robbed them or influence over the Indians, or expiring at Prospect Bluffs and the lands in possession of Negroes. So let me read that again. They're saying that these brothers, they done already raided them. They done already ate up all their cattle, took all their cattle, and they robbed them of the influence over the Indians. And the Negroes already had the Prospect Bluff and the lands in possession. You see that? That means that we already had our stuff. We was already set up. We was doing our thing, right? They said they would not deliver up the Negroes. That could not be done without the violation of British faith. The fort grew into a strategically defensive base to a flourishing Black Maroon community. Notice it didn't say any other community, Black Maroon community, lining the fertile banks of Appalachia. They cultivated fields extending 50 miles upriver. Okay, I want y'all to get this in mind. 50 miles upriver, they have farms and ranches, settlements all up and down the rivers and its tributaries. Using generations of inherited knowledge from West African agricultural techniques. Runaway slaves were pouring in on a daily basis, and the community grew to about 1,000 blacks in the field surrounding the fort. Colonel Robert Patterson wrote about the Appalachian fort. The fort grew from a strategically defensive base to which would have yielded them every article of sustenance, and which would consequently in a short time have rendered the establishment quite formidable and highly injurious to neighboring states. Now, you hear what they saying? They say neighboring states. So what other state they talking about? Our state. They talking about the state we was in. Self-sufficiency. Defiance of them. It said that the base was so strategic that it could have yielded every article of sustenance. That means we were self-sufficient. We didn't need nobody. Everything we had, we already got it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep on moving on, right? Because I just laid out to y'all from the Haitian Revolution all the way up into the 1812. I went into, and so now I'm going directly into after the Civil War, because you can't have integration without the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation. It says, following the Civil War, marks the beginning of integration. You hear that? Following the Civil War marks the beginning of integration and the end of slavery. Many free slaves established their own communities. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Many free slaves established their own communities. I'm going to read it again. Many free slaves established their own communities and settlements, often referred to as freedom towns or all black towns. These communities aim to provide, listen, this is what the blacks did for themselves. These communities aim to provide economic and social freedom, foster ideas of racial uplift, shielding residents from racism and offering opportunities. Unavailable in integrated areas. I thought integration was about us all getting along and being equal. Why would that be unavailable in integrated areas, right? It said the areas, these towns like Guthrie, Langston, which were established in the late 19th and early 20th century, with African-American migrants from the Southeast finding space to establish municipalities on their own terms. However, with the rise of Jim Crow segregation and discrimination following Oklahoma statehood in 1907, the population of these towns were disenfranchised. Nicodemus, Kansas, Freemantown, Houston, Eatonville, Florida, Jonesville, Maryland. You see that? All that stuff, all that was before integration. That's before integration. We had all that, right? The Great Migration, a significant movement of African Americans from the rural South to the urban areas in the Northwest, occurred primarily during the first half of the 20th century. The Great Migration resulted in the growth of large black communities and urban centers. With these centers, black Americans established their own school, churches, fraternities, sisterhood organizations, fostering in a sense of belonging and control over their lives. They also entered various professions, including science, business, education, music, writing, and founded their own newspapers. So they're letting you know these are the things that we was doing on our own. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do, right? And again, here go a list of things that happened in between the 1700s all the way to the 1900s. You got the establishment of the first Free African Society in Philadelphia to help educate African Americans on social economic issues. That's in 1778. Richard Allen and Absalom Jones. 1879. The first African Americans appear in the U.S. currency as Register of the Treasury. He was also to be the first African American to serve a full term in Congress and was considered one of the most influential black men of his time. In 1879, Capital Savings Bank, the first bank founded by African Americans, that provided capital needed for black-owned businesses to grow. That's 1879. That's before integration. It's before integration. It says 1902. Again, it's before integration. Right? Integration is in a specific time. I told you got to go through all this stuff because it leads up to integration. Maggie Walker was the first African-American woman to establish and serve as a president of the bank in the United States. When she found out white-owned banks did not accept deposits from black organizations, she had the idea to start her own bank, which continued to this day as the oldest African-American owned bank in the United States. That was before integration. It said the period between 1700s and 1960s encapsulate the history of black land ownership marked by the systematic barriers, the period of growth after emancipation, and the tragic decline due to many various factors, including discriminatory practices, violence, legal complexities, the loss of land. The loss of land during this period has a significant impact on generational wealth and economic opportunity for black Americans. Again, here go the sources for all of those things right there. And again, here go the Freedmen Savings Bank. That's 1865. That's the same year that the Emancipation Proclamation became completely legal. That's also the same time that the Civil War kicked off. That's also the same time that the Ku Klux Klan was born. So establishing to help newly freed slaves, it faced challenges, ultimately failed, highlighting the need for community control. Financial institutions, first black-owned bank, 1888 onward. Institutions like Capital Savings Banks and the Order of True Reform Bank were founded to address the lack of access to financial services for African Americans before African Americans. Before the Civil War, there were discussions about starting black-owned banks to create more economic opportunities for free blacks and stand as a powerful symbol in fight against slavery, even before the Civil War. You heard that? Even before the Civil War. Given the oppressive environment, these earlier versions could not realize that at the time Black Americans were shut out of the American banks. Look, I thought all this inclusion shit was about equality. Nigga, we are shut out of the American banks. Even after the Civil War, instead, the credit used by Black communities to establish businesses and help families was provided through non-traditional channels. That means we was funding it ourselves. Wasn't the government, such as wealthy individuals or cooperatives with limited success. It says in 1865, a bank was established to serve Black Americans known as the Freedmen's Savings Bank, which opened 37 branches, 17 states, had over 60,000 depositors. It came under the control of white financiers who used the bank's resources to fund speculative investments, losing their life savings of thousands of Black depositors. But it's about equality, right? Equity, right? Okay, let's keep going. Between 1888 and 1934, over 130 Black-owned banks were established, playing a significant role in the community development. Black banks faced systematic barriers, including redlining and limited access to capital, hindering their growth. The Great Depression and other economic crises disproportionately impacted Black communities and their banks. Many Black banks acquired by larger institutions or merged with other minority banks, reducing their overall numbers. You hear that? Reducing the numbers. The decline in Black banks has contributed to the widening racial gaps, as fewer institutions are available to serve Black communities. Despite the decline in numbers, Black-owned banks remain vital to the community and continue to play a crucial role in addressing their needs. So again, right there, y'all see that before integration, we was doing the damn thing, and then after integration, it declined rapidly. Now, I brought this up, the Freedmen's Bureau, because the claim is that we didn't become a welfare state, and I already pointed out to y'all what a welfare state is. A welfare state is a concept of government in which the state or a well-established network of social institutions play a role in the protection and promotion of economic social well-being of its citizens. Is based on the principle of equality of opportunity, equitably distribution of wealth, and public responsibility for those unable to avail themselves for minimal provisions of life. It just so happens the Freedmen Bureau, who's the Freedmen? Oh yeah, that's us. The Freedmen Bureau, officially known as the Bureau of Refugees. Well, refugees are people affected by war. So what war are they talking about? Oh, yeah, you ain't even got to answer that. We already know what war that is. The freedmen and abandoned lands. What abandoned lands? What abandoned lands they talk about? Oh, you talk about the lands that got abandoned when the KKK ran us out? You mean the same abandoned lands that the sharecroppers took from us? You talking about the same abandoned land? Okay, I ain't even going to go that far. It says, was the U.S. federal agency established in 1865. Again, another 1865. The Freedmen's Savings Bank was opened in 1865. Nigga, you had the Freedmen's Bureau opened up in 1865, and you had the Klan created in 1865 to avoid newly freed slaves and poor whites in the South after the Civil War. So the Freedmen's Bureau set up a welfare program, welfare state. This is specifically for the freedmen and the poor whites. It provided crucial support like food, shelter, Medicare, education, while also help establishing legal rights and oversee labor contracts. You see that? That's why I had to rewind that form so y'all could see that even the Freedmen's Bureau was set up in a welfare state type system, right? It says many of the former Confederate veterans fought for the first branch of the Ku Klux Klan as a social club in Pulaski, Tennessee in 1865. From 1867 onward, Black participation in public life in the South became one of the most radical aspects of Reconstruction, as Black people won elections to Southern state governments and even to the U.S. Congress. For its part, the Ku Klux Klan dedicated itself to an underground campaign of violence against Republican leaders and voters, both black and white, in the effort to reverse the policy of the radical Reconstruction and to restore the white supremacy in the South. Now, why would they have to restore white supremacy in the South if they always had dominance over it? That means at some point they lost dominance over the South. Now, when did they lose dominance over the South? Oh, yeah, that's right. All those incursions that I just showed y'all, all of those insurrections I just showed y'all, they didn't have control. We had control. You see what I'm saying? Now, it says they were joined in this struggle by similar organizations such as the White Knights of Camellia, launched in Louisiana in 1867, and the White Brotherhood. So y'all go look up those organizations. A lot of those things still exist. At least 10% of black legislators elected during 1867 and 1868 constitutional convention became victims of violence during Reconstruction, including 7 who were killed. White Republicans derided as carpetbaggers and scallywags, and black institutions such as schools and churches, symbols of black autonomy. Black autonomy, there go that word again, autonomy. That means without the government. That means without the United States. Were also target of the Klan. So that means anything that had to do with our freedom, they was attacking that, right? So again, I'm going to go back into, these are just, extra facts about what we've already talked about. Again, like here we go, Gabriel's rebellion in the 1800s. Gabriel, who inspired by the revolution in France and Haiti, right? My opponent said this ain't got nothing to do with them, but yet you see right here, the Gabriel rebellion was inspired by France and Haiti, an extensive plan to gather 1,000 slaves to overturn slavery by attacking wealthy whites or to be spared, and equal rights demanded for all. Many of the men involved in plotting are skilled workers who amassed a collection of weapons, attending secret meetings. Due to a terrible storm and betrayal, much of the publicized revolt, the rebellion was full, and the rebels killed. It takes the militia 3 weeks to find and capture Gabriel, who was tried and hanged along with 25 others. Whites live in fear. Again, you can go look up all of this right here at belongingtoberkeley.edu. I told you I put all my sources in blue so y'all could go look them up. You got the German Coast Uprising, 1811. This was a major rebellion led by a mixed race slave driver on the sugar plantation, Charles Dessalines, who, like many Africans and African Americans, was inspired by, guess what? The Haitian Revolution. Dessalines and about 25 others were attacked his master's family, but the master escaped. The rebels, it says the rebels went on to take weapons and ammunition from the plantation and other supplies from the store. They marched towards New Orleans, intending to take the city. They want you to believe this is a ragtag band of slaves. Why you trying to tell me a ragtag band of slaves is marching towards New Orleans to take the city with a handful of slaves? Huh? Do that even make sense? It says singing Creole songs along the way. They force grew to about 125. And I outlined Creole songs to show you they had their own cultures. They had their own thing going on. They're not singing, they're not singing American folk songs. They singing their own stuff. Right, 1815, Paul Couffé takes 38 black Africans and African-American Bostonians to Sierra Leone. This event is part of an ongoing debate about whether free blacks belong. States like Virginia made it illegal for free blacks to stay in the state for more than 12 months. Both abolitionist and pro-slavery whites considered the possibility of exporting blacks to a colony in Africa. Now, my opponent, when he debated, I forgot who he was debating. I think it might have been Rube. I can't remember who it was. But he was talking about Marcus Garvey and how Marcus Garvey had the same stance as the white supremacists. And I was trying to explain, like, listen, if you are pro-black, you're going to have the same stance as a white supremacist because they believe that Negroes need to be in their own land doing their own thing, and Europeans need to be in their land doing their own thing. So that's something that we all can agree on, whether if you're a black nationalist or a white supremacist. So I don't see the problem with having that idea. It says that that in part to remove a threat of an organized free black resistance to slavery in the United States. So they want to put black people in a colony in Africa because it was a threat to their white American republic. Now, why was just a rag tag of slaves be a threat to an entire empire? Why? It says, however, Kufe's intentions were to start a prosperous free black colony. What's a prosperous free black colony? Ain't that a nation? That's a nation. It says he visited the country twice, transported Africans and African Americans Bostonian there. In 1817, a meeting at the African Methodist Episcopal AME Church in Philadelphia with thousands of Africans and African Americans, however, reached a consensus against the mass Back to Africa movement. So there, right there, you see that the integrationists, the Christian apologists were all in cahoots, wanted to keep us here under the white man's subjugation. So y'all see that right there, who helped usher in y'all demise right there. So y'all can give them a hat off for that. In 1885 to 1819, commonly referred to Nadir, the lowest point in African American history. How is this the lowest point in African American history if slavery was ended in 1865? So how is 1885 to 1915 the lowest point of African American history? That's because you was better. You was better off as a people before the signing of Emancipation Proclamation. You was better off as a people before integration because you was self-sufficient, self-reliant. You didn't need nobody. It says in many cases, the KKK and other white supremacists forced African Americans to leave their land or to be lynched. Like I told you, they basically ran 4 to 6 million people out of the South. Y'all abandoned everything that y'all great-grandfathers, great-great-grandfathers, great-great-great-grandfathers, your great-great-great, everything that they accumulated and took by force, y'all gave it up to them. Y'all gave it up to the white man by running up there up north to sit at the table with the white man. And you gave it all up. Schools, theaters, hospitals, everything, towns that had your own family names on them, your own hero names on them. You gave it all up. A whole community grid that were off grid. You gave it all up so you could sit at the table with the white man. It says, thus many all white towns were created. How did many white towns get created? How did they get created? Oh yeah, that's right. Because they forced the KKK and white supremacists forced the African Americans out of their lands. That's how it happened. We had to abandon our lands or face death, hanging, burnings, rape, murder, pillage. So 4 to 6 million of us did just that. We left. It says there was a massive loss of land, economic independence for African Americans. That means they destroyed us economically. It said who was encountered disenfranchises, lynchings, sharecroppings, and other overlapping system of racial oppression. Peaslee versus Ferguson established a separate but equal doctrine. Again, we were separate, but we most definitely wasn't no damn equal, right? It says African American activists during this time are considered freedom's first generation. The NAACP was founded for civic resistance and filing legal cases. You talking about the same thing that the Freedmen's Bureau was doing, that was already doing. It says the African American art and intellectual contributions previewed the Harlem Resist, a network of African American institutions emerged, contributed to stronger communities. In 1915, the birth of a nation of blatantly racist film was shown at the White House, causing widespread protests. And like I said, this debate was only 20 minutes, so I didn't really have enough time to put everything that I really wanted into this debate. But this presentation was already strong enough and powerful enough. It was already a first round checkmate in the beginning when you realize the United States is a welfare state, and we are included in that if you are a U.S. citizen. So again, in the end of this debate, I have established that yes, we were a nation. We have always been a nation. When they call you African American, they're telling you that you're a nation. Every time Juneteenth pop up, they're telling you that you're a nation. We the only, you ain't never heard of an Arab American national anthem. You ain't never heard of a Mexican American national anthem. You ain't never heard of a Jewish American national anthem. We the only people running around in the United States with our own national anthem. We got our own flag that flies every year to commemorate that. You understand what I'm saying? What Marcus Garvey did for our people was to establish a government. And it takes all of us to stand up and man those positions and fund our own government. We have to fund our own liberation. We cannot sit back and wait on Democrats, Republicans, liberals, none of those people to do what the conscious community is supposed to have been doing for the last 100 years. It is not anybody else's responsibility to take care of our nation outside of the Black nationalist organizations who have been fighting in defiance for almost 100 years. It is time for the Black nationalist organizations to stand up in a bipartisan coalition together. It is time. When you go through the period of integration, one of those periods that comes up is the creation of the integration of the CIA, and we can talk days for about how the infiltration of Black African organizations came to a halt because of the FBI and the CIA. All of that stuff is because of integration. Prior to that, they couldn't get no white boys or any Black person to turn on Black people like that. Right, so when you go look up COINTELPRO, go look up what their mandate is. Their mandate is to stop the coalition of Black militant organizations. That is their main purpose, is to stop Black militant organizations from forming a coalition, which means that is your strategy, is to coalesce together as Black militant organizations, not just pacifists, not as integrationalists, as Black militants. Y'all supposed to be Black militants. They're afraid of that. And then the other thing that they scared of is the rise of a Black Messiah. Now, why are they not talking about the rise of an Asian Messiah or a Jewish Messiah? Why not the rise of a Native American Messiah? Why is it just the Black Messiah? What is so important about African Americans that you fear us that bad that you will spend billions of dollars just to keep us in dissension? So you got to judge a man by his enemy and what his enemy got to go through in order to subdue him. We have went through 400 or 500 years of enslavement, Jim Crow, and a host of other atrocities, and we still here. We still fighting. We still in resistance. So before integration, we were a brilliant, beautiful people with a large, amazing tapestry of diversity that made this country beautiful, that made this country great. In the beginning, we allied with our Native American allies, and that's all we ever needed was them. We never needed no white man. We never needed no European. We never needed the United States government. They needed you. They always needed you. Always needed your human capital, your human resources. See, you are the people. You're not the pig. And once we stand up as a nation, as American nation, what does that mean? What does that mean to be American nation? It means to be in complete defiance. That means to be unapologetically Black, African, all day, every day, 10 toes down, waving that red, black, and green flag. If you ain't got no red, black, and green flag in your house right now representing our ancestors and the struggles that we went through, you the problem. If you're not helping with the restoration and the upliftment of our Black nationalist organizations. You are the problem. You're the problem. You're the reason why the movements aren't going, because you're not helping. Shouts out to the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's a civic and religious organization. Now, you know what I'm saying, designed to uplift the so-called Black man in the wilderness of America to rise up to his fullest potentials as Moorish Americans. We salute you, the UNIA. We salute the UNIA and the first president, President General Marcus Messiah Garvey, the forerunner of the Moorish Science Temple. We want to give praise and honor to you, brother. We thank you for what you did. The Black Panthers. I mean, we always in a total debt and gratitude with them for what they've done for our people. They are the ones who started the WIC programs, the welfare programs, and the government just copied what they did. Black men organized for their own community, self-reliant. When we talk about the Nation of Islam, I mean, do we got to say anything? What the Nation of Islam has done for our people, what they continue to do for our people? Right, when we talk about the Nuwaubians, the beautiful culture of the Nuwaubians, how they spread language and information. You understand? So we might not all agree with Dr. York, but the nation that he created is pure. It's a pure nation. Them people ain't never robbed, raped, and pillaged and plundered no other nation on this planet. So when we look at our Nuwaubian brothers, we can look at them with love and admiration and pride. Be proud of them. When we talking about our Rastafarian community, Jah love you, Jah bless. Bless up.
Uh-oh. All right, hold on, brother. Let me say this real quick because I want to open up for question and answers.
Let's get it in. Let's get it in. Hello? What happened? Did it freeze up again? Did we freeze up again? What's going on?
You hear me? You ain't hear me what I was saying?
Yeah. You said we're going to bring on some questions.
Yeah, all right. We got Unk coming up right after you, brother. Responding to Mandinka Mali and Indigenous Black man. Real scholarship versus fake scholarship. So that's coming up with Anukakerakt right after this. And let me say too, brother, that I first want to say, man, people scared of Black power, brother.
Scared.
And that performance that you just put on right now is what I call a Black power presentation. People scared of that. Not only the white man, but Black people. They were scared of Khalid Muhammad. They was afraid of Malcolm X. I'm talking about Negroes, bro. See, they love him now because he's no longer here. He's dead now. So I'm telling you for a fact, something that I know, they were afraid of Malcolm X. They were afraid of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. I'm telling you something I know. I've been out there on them streets. I've been interviewing these people, and I've been hearing the stuff that they say. I wish I still had that on video. I wish I had it on video. And so now they love him. Now they want to name a street after him because they know this is how we get the Negroes. This is how we pacify the Negroes. Let's call the street Marcus Garvey. Let's give them that because that's all they good for. They want to feel good about themselves. So let's name a street after Marcus Garvey, Harriet Tubman, Adam Clayton Powell. Let's give these Negroes that. Meanwhile, we keep cashing in at the same time. You see what I'm saying? So, right. Brother, I want to ask you a question.
What's that, bro?
Who was the brother? What was the, you ain't got to say his name, but what was the brother that you was challenging coming with? because I can see how you can lose something like this with this presentation, brother. That's crazy.
His premise was African Americans cannot turn into food stamps.
African Americans cannot turn into food stamps. What do you mean by that?
Meaning that we can't metamorphosize our bodies into being food stamps and welfare programs.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that too.
Yeah, but it's facetious and it's semantics in a debate that we already had a preliminary to iron out exactly what we was going to debate, and we were not debating linguistic science. We were debating the exact topic that I was talking about. Black American nation. Yeah, man. So it's like, yeah, when you have a preliminary, that's what the preliminary is for.
Right. The weigh-in. We call it the weigh-in.
Right.
You know.
Yep. To iron out what we're going to debate, and in that debate, in that face-off, we never mentioned one time that we were going to be debating semantics. Because if that was the case, I would have had a whole different presentation. I'm not a rookie. I've been debating in the Lions Den.
Man, you don't sound like no rookie at all, brother.
No, I'm not a rookie.
Brothers like Keon, I see him in there, but brothers like Keon are scared of this type of language. He's scared of this type of presentation. He wouldn't be able to sit in the room with Dr. Khalid Muhammad, brother.
Oh, brother, we got a whole series coming out after this because it was so much information that we compiled that we couldn't put in 20 minutes worth of information. So, like, we actually got more coming. Like, there's documentaries out here about Americans. You see what I'm saying? Like, there is history that we don't know nothing about. We need to uncover it for our people, man. Edification for the people, man. Shout out JJ, cuz. Peace.
All right, man. Dinka, what up, man? What's going on, man, Dinka? Anybody with questions, y'all can come on in. It's time.
Yeah. Like I said, shout out to Naga World Order in the building, man. The Lions Den, man. You know what we do. Just some of the heavy hitters that we got back in the den that a lot of y'all ain't seen. But he been on here before. He ran off Q Butter and Inky. Yeah. Remember that song?
I remember.
Yeah. And man, he actually got in the ring with me. So I mean, this was one of my toughest debates I ever had in my life.
He beat you up. I already know that.
I won, he won. You know, so then
he was a Hebrew Israelite, so I know he beat you up.
Okay, well, yeah, I got the footage. You know, we might have to show that. This ain't about JJ. This is about the people that I got faith and confidence in, and I want them to have a voice. A lot of them in the back chat smarter than me. Y'all remember when I first got in front of the TV, I said, wait till the people in the Lions Den start coming out and jumping up in the big stage. You see what I'm saying? We ain't huckabucking around and all in your video. Hey, we bring the real information. We don't huckabuck. You know, but anyway, hey, great job, Lorel. Let me ask you a question right here. What do you think? Do you think is a positive or detrimental to the community to try to get reparations? Because I got a guy named what's his name, Zach over there, said that our people can't get reparations. They shouldn't get it. What do you think about that, sir? Go ahead.
Okay, so my thoughts on reparation. One, we taking everything we owe. That's first and foremost. We taking everything we owe, and we taking what you ain't trying to give us. So we don't give a rest at. We don't really care about that. But as far as it being detrimental to us, yeah, it could be and it can't. But you know, in the end of the day, when we was getting put in chains and slavery, we didn't have no oversight of how we were getting treated or none of that stuff. So if reparations is the thing that is going to cause us to repair ourselves as a nation, then those are the things that we need to do. I mean, we've already tried with Black nationalist organizations for us to pull ourselves up in bootstraps, but y'all won't support them. But you won't support the nationalist organizations. So guess what? Reparations is about the next best things if you're not going to stand up and support your own government. So, I mean, you got to take the good with the bad.
All right, let me move on, JJ, because we got a few people. King Born Equality, what up? Peace to the God. What's happening?
Peace. How y'all, man? Everything's cool. I just wanted to say to Brother Lorel,
Yes, go ahead, brother. You got the mic.
Yeah. Oh, okay. My bad. I thought you said hold on. Now I just want to say to the brother Laurel, he brought it. You know what I'm saying? We heard plenty of Black history stories and all that, but he brought it clearly. You know what I'm saying? No cut and dry, no cutting out scenes, no. He told everything the way it was supposed to be. And we can understand that. You know what I'm saying? When it's broken down and it's stuff left out and stuff taken out to make the other side look like they were right and we were wrong, or like we were just stupid Black people that didn't know what to do, or we were just out here being dumb. No, we had a whole lot. We had a whole lot going on. My grandmother even told me the same thing. You know what I mean? So I understand that. We need to know that. We don't know that, man. We go to school. We don't learn anything about ourselves for real. We don't learn how we fought and how we had. And you know what I'm saying? We always feel like we ain't never had nothing and we ain't going to be nothing. That's why you see kids out here today doing nothing. But they don't know what they are. They don't know what they could do. They don't even try. They still won't even push themselves to that, you know? They don't want to try to get to that point because they don't think they ever been there. We've been there. We had a lot, man. We had Black Wall Streets all over America, man.
Yeah, we did.
Texas, Rosewood, out in Oklahoma. I mean, we had stuff. We know how to take care of ourselves, bro.
Brother, I know
we don't need nobody.
I know you're right, because I'm old enough to go back and remember the stores that we had in my neighborhood, brother. All I saw was Black people, brother.
Okay.
I'm talking about Black grocery stores, Black supermarket. That's all I saw growing up as a young man on 137th Street and Lennon Avenue in Harlem. So I know what you're talking about. We don't see that no more. I don't see that no more.
What?
You know?
The more they erase, the more we forget. You know what I'm saying? The more we forget, the easier we are to steer into other areas. You know what I'm saying? We don't know we have.
And for the new babies that's being born now, they never experienced that. They thinking, damn, we're our people. We never had nothing. They don't know.
Exactly. Same way I think when I was growing up, I felt the same way. I was like, damn, we ain't never had nothing, man. We don't know how to, like, I felt like we were just dumb people. Like, damn, what is it? Why we ain't, I used to ask God, why we ain't got nothing?
And brother, don't forget, we had Black barbershops, we had Black cab drivers, all of that, bro.
Yeah.
All of that was all Black community. I don't know. Like, what the hell happened to that?
Man.
Well, like I keep telling everybody, our minds, if we don't control our minds are very powerful, bro. And if we don't control our minds, the mind controls the body. So if somebody else controlling our minds, we ain't worth nothing, man. We ain't going, because we don't even have the mind to try to fight back or try to give any kind of resistance to something that we don't care about or we don't want to do, or something that's gonna harm us. We just do it anyway because, well, we better do it. No, we better not do anything but stay on our shit. You know what I'm saying? Stay on our own grind, man. It makes me mad to even think about it, but they played a very good trick on us, bro.
Right.
When they hid our history and hid what we were and what we used to do, that was a damn good trick, bro. Because the mind is powerful, and to put us in a state of just, hey, we ain't gonna fight, man. We just do whatever y'all. Hey, go ahead and do what they say. Don't you fight with them people.
Right.
That's what I used to hear a lot when I was growing up.
What's up, Elder Suntan? You got the floor. Yes, sir.
Peace. Nice presentation by my brother, but I have a two-part question. One part is this here. I examined what you said and everything like that. So what, as an individual, do we do? And I'm not asking that from you. I'm asking, just putting it out there. What should we do with all this information you brought? And the second thing that I have to say, and I need you to elaborate on it, even with that excellent presentation you put out, it's still not going to do anything because we have been, our minds has been disrupted. We had no psychological help throughout these 400 years of depression. See, you can understand if you can give somebody some reparations, but if they don't have a mind to do right with what reparations that they have, then it's just going to be for naught. They're going to get it by popsicle and it's gone. So what I'm saying to you, without no psychological repair, and that's what the brother just was talking about, our people are doomed. You can give us everything you want to give us. You can name streets after without psychological repair. That's our problem here in America with Americans. We have not had no psychiatrists, no one talked to us. We had nobody to go to talk to but ourselves, and we in sort of a, you know, a dizzy situation. So what do you got to say about that?
I agree.
Okay, so that was pretty complex. So let me say this again. We didn't have control over how people treated us when we was in slavery. We didn't have control over how much we were getting sold for or bought for. None of that. So I don't feel like we should have to put any type of oversight on anybody on how they decide to use any type of reparations that they receive, because they're free. They're free to do what they want. Now I'm gonna go into the Nation of Islam and the 5%ers. One of the things that they tell us, they say 85% of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind. 10% of the people are trying to control the 85, but it's the 5% that is the poor righteous teachers that are here to uplift humanity. So I'm saying, yeah, 85% of those people probably is gonna blow that money and do bad things for it. And then you might have 10% of the population that might try to prey on that 85. You know what I'm saying? They know that they deaf, dumb, and blind. But that 5% of us, they're going to become the new class. They're going to become the new black upper class, because they're going to take that money, they're going to invest those money, and they're going to become the new bosses, the new supervisors, the new business owners. And they're going to be the ones who employ all of those 85s who went out and blew all their money. So who cares? If they take the money, all they're going to do is spend the money into the economy. It boosts the economy up. We win, they happy. Once you get the reparations, you can't complain about, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. It's water under the bridge now. Now we can start the repairing, not the actual repairing and the restitution of our nation. But first you got to stop the bleeding. You see what I'm saying? You can't talk about criminality and all of that stuff without talking about the lack of education and the lack of economic resources and economic opportunities. Can't talk about those things without bringing that up. You see what I'm saying? So most of these brothers that are out here committing crimes, robbing, selling drugs, they're doing that stuff because they got bills, they have families, and things of that nature. If they had the money, do you really think they would wake up in the morning and decide to go do crime? I don't know. If you ask most rappers who used to be criminals and now that they're into the money, most of them tell you to no. They wake up and they trying to get on a boat or live life to the fullest because they got money. They're not struggling no more. They're not thinking with that poor mentality no more because they got a little money. So money, the access to capital is the thing that actually crippled us and stopped us from having generational wealth. So I say, if we're going to do the reparations, because it is owed to you, regardless of how it's divvied out to you, it's owed to you. You see what I'm saying? So you can try not taking the reparations, which is the condition that we're in right now. Look at the conditions we're in right now without the reparations. And you're saying that we're going to be in a worse condition if we get the reparations. Like, I don't know. That sounds kind of backwards to me, man.
Let me say this. Ola Jubal, I hope if I butchered your name, I'm sorry. But Ola Jubal says sa.neter doesn't use his platform to help us fight for reparations. And I say to you, brother, that y'all do not come over here to build my platform up so that I can fight for reparations. How about that? How about you bring y'all butts over here where we can begin to fight for reparations? You're all welcome. You ain't sent me no email yet saying, yo, brother Sa, I would like to do a show over here on reparations. You know the platform is open for you, brother. It's open for all of y'all. But y'all don't come and send me anything.
Add some nuances to that, brother Sa. Not only is that a thing, we are not one political body. So I mean, until you become one political body, we can't even talk about reparations for real. We have to become one body politic. Like for instance, right? What if it's not the United States that want to pay for reparations? What if it's Ghana? What if Ghana want to say, you know what? Here go a couple $1 billion just to start you off with. Who do they send that to? 40, 60 million individuals? Is they going to send it to 46 million individuals, or are they going to send that to a centralized government that represent our people?
That's a good question.
We have to organize ourselves into a body politic, bro. So
that's a good question. And you know, doggone well that we ain't trusting nobody, not one group of people over the millions of us. Hell no. Let me answer Keon real quick. Keon says, stop pushing Africa and continuing to stay in Detroit. Keon, I say to you, stop pushing Jesus and not going to Bethlehem. Stop pushing Jesus, brother. Stop pushing Jesus, right? And not going to Bethlehem. Stop pushing Jesus and not standing up to fight, because the Jesus I read about in the Bible was a black revolutionary Messiah. That's what I read about. I'm not saying that's what he is, but that's what I read about. He wasn't no tiptoeing through the tulips type of guy. You see what I'm saying? So stop mentioning Jesus unless you're ready to get down and fight.
He got white Jesus. He said in the audience.
Yeah, no doubt. But anyway, man, ain't nobody else want to come on, y'all. This is the time. What you want to say, man, Dinka?
Oh man, so like I say, man, I'm proud of Anu, man. This is information. This is where he should have probably, presented the information from the get. But sometimes you got to go on smaller platforms so people can. So yeah, this topic is very important to us because we have a lot of Eurocentrics in the audience.
Well, hey, look here. My point was this right here, brother. Our culture. Go ahead, man. My bad. I thought you was done.
Let me get it 2 minutes. 30 seconds. That's all. That's all I need, Elder. Yeah, man. And like I say, man, we got a lot of people that's around us every day that when we bring out like information like this, like Lord Abba was in there cackling and jeckling. I don't know what he said wrong in this presentation for you to even laugh or be, kind of like, what is he talking about? I don't understand. I mean, like I say, man, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. Everything ain't got to be confrontational, bro. So this is the type of information that we want to bring. And like I say, these other platforms, they out there cussing each other out and talking about your mama, and they ain't bringing no information. 8 or 9 of them want to try to step to me, but they won't step to me by themselves. They won't come out of that fishbowl. You know who you are. I got footage of a couple of you I already slapped around. So what you thought it was going to be anything different when I came over there? No. You.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is this here.
Hey, hold on. Yo, I gotta make a quick run for like maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Mandinka, hold it down without cursing, no profanity, brother. No arguing, no cursing nobody out. All right, can you do that?
Hey, do anybody else want to jump on before Sar lead? That way,
I'm here. This is Lord Abba. I'm here.
Okay. All right, let's get it. Let's go ahead.
All right. So yeah, real quick. This is why I was putting laugh out loud. We're in an age where information has been digitized to the point where we can throw. We Googled a lot of stuff, but now we're in a new age where we have Chat GPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini, and what these things do is they help us fact check better. I threw all of my old stuff in Chat GPT and Claude, for instance, and I was able to see all of the errors of a lot of the old research that I did, and I actually began the process of starting to correct some of this stuff. I listened to the brother, and it was a lot of stuff that he said that was wrong, brother JJ, that was not historically accurate. It was a lot of stuff. And I was driving, so I couldn't take notes of anything. But I'm like, but then I listened to what the brother was saying in response to what Elder Suntan was saying about his false, and I gotta say that, Elder Suntan, what you said about reparations is false. This isn't some psychological issue. Reparations are owed to our people. I don't care if 99% of us are diagnosed with bipolar, schizophrenia, depression, etc., that doesn't do nothing against the debt that this country is owed to us. But from a historical perspective, a lot of what the brother was saying it just was not factual. It was ahistorical. So that's what I was putting the laugh out loud in there,
Lord,
because I studied it. I know that.
I gotta respond to what he said.
Yeah, I want
Lord Abbott, I wasn't speaking on reparations and what you get in hand. See, that's where you missed. That's what you missed. I wasn't speaking about what a person's supposed to get as far as material status. What I was talking about is our people, our culture has been psychologically dismantled, brother. That's why we in this shipwreck that we is now. And then the brother also made a point that as I skip up, he made a point at whoever blow their reparation is going to be 5% who's going to do the right thing with reparations. But my comment wasn't to reparations. My comment was to our people. And our people mean more than reparations. Our people with a sound mind mean more than anything. You got to be able to have a sound mind to handle business. You got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, I have everything within myself to make my life work and to make it better for me and someone else if necessary. That's what that was my main premise. It wasn't about no money. It wasn't, listen, it wasn't about no money. It's about we have been had a foot on our neck for 400 years and we ain't had no psychological help. It should be psychological help for these people, all of our Black people that's out here trying to make it, because after you work hard all day, you come home and then you still got to play this money game. I got to pay this bill, got to pay this bill. But us as strong Black men.
That's what the reparations is for, though, right?
But that ain't what I'm saying. Hey, my brother. I know you cut me off, but that's okay.
Well, I'm just you kind of going, and I would have liked it to be a back and forth before the next person went, but it's cool. I'm gonna mute up.
Well, listen, this real quick though, because I don't got this long song and dance. All I'm trying to say is our people have been tormented in more ways than one, but the main way we have been tormented is psychologically. So I don't care if you got $1 million, if you're not psychologically sound, you're gonna go buy a Hershey bar with it. So it ain't about the money. It's about
free healthcare. Elder Sutton, how about we add? Let's petition for the free healthcare to be added to the plan.
Yeah, so that's perfect.
Money, the people. Hold on, let me get this. Hold on, let me get it, and then I'm gonna let the brother in the middle come in, and then Lou. I'm saying maybe we can add that. Maybe we can add free education for the next 100 years to each family. We're not just thinking about money. Like if you look at the list of Dr. Clyde Winters, I think Dr. Clyde Anderson. He's a proponent. He goes to politics out there, and he petitions for it.
I'm one of his followers.
I'm gonna cut it short, man. Hold up. So what I'm saying is, Taz, you challenged me on this debate. You said that we don't deserve reparations. Yeah, I'm gonna get my chance now. sa.neter gone. I'm gonna get you. That's the debate I want, sir. And hey, we're gonna have a preseason debate, meaning outside your fishbowl. Domo, Anonymous Hebrew, Chris Harris. I already got footage on all three of y'all. Solomon, I got you running. So anybody over there don't want to smoke with the Lions Den, or anybody over there, I hate your cake. I dare you to step up. All right, let's get to the brother down there at the bottom in the middle. Go ahead, sir. You got the floor.
JJ, real quick, check the link I put in the chat.
Yeah, I don't control that. We're going to have to let sa.neter come back. Oh, there you go. He's back. It's the brother turn down there in the middle.
No, you can see it. It's in the private chat. Check the private chat. You should be able to see the link to our 12-point program from our website, United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen. Everything that you talked about that should be added in the reparations program, we put that on our site like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And we got people out here, Uncle Ruckus sitting around talking about, no, we don't deserve reparations, but you claim you teach Black history?
Send them to me. Send them to me.
Serious? Yeah, no.
It's on you, bro.
You're gonna get beat up.
Well,
I think we need to simplify our reparations
what's up, brother?
discussion.
All right. All right. Assam Khan, what up, brother?
Peace, big brother. Over here.
All right.
I hear the baby crying, man. The baby crying. What you doing to him?
Hold on. Let me mute down real quick.
All right, son. What you got, brother?
What's up? But all I was saying was
to the brother Albert Lord's comments.
Yeah, I would just say, go ahead, bro. You want to speak?
So one of the things I want to comment was, I really would like to know, understand your assessment when you said I was wrong about a few things. I would like to know which things you're talking about: the 1812, the Americans, the insurrections, or the Maroon community. Like, I don't know which part is actually incorrect to you. The other thing dealing with that, when we start speaking about reparations, again, I want y'all to understand we didn't have control over what we did or where we went. We never had control over that. So nobody should be telling you what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing with your reparation money. Now, reparations is one thing. That is just to stop the bleeding. Monetary supplement is just to stop the bleeding. That's not restoration. Now, what y'all talking about is restoration. The restoration of the Black nation. Reparations is one thing. Now, when you go look up reparation, those are monies or benefits that are attributed to a nation that was attacked by another nation, not a bunch of individuals. So you have to come into a body politic. You know what I'm saying? Like, half the reason what's wrong with reparations right now, because if reparations wanted to get paid, what treasury do they put that money into? There's no treasury to put it into. So unless we come into a body politic and create that incorporated body structure, that corporate body structure, if we don't do that, we won't have what we are looking for. And with that being said, it don't really take to get reparations. What it takes is for us to tax ourselves. If we just had 1 million conscious brothers, 1 million of us who decided, you know what, a month, we're going to send $40 a month to our own government. That's $40 million a month that organization would be generating. That's $480 million a year. That's $980 million every 2 years. In 3 years, that's $1 billion company. You understand what I'm saying? And that corporation, that political structure can build and do whatever African Americans need to do as a people, as a corporate body. It's not ran by one person, it's ran by a board. So again, we need to incorporate in order to make these type of things happen. And that includes, of course, that includes healthcare, that includes all of those things. So that is restoration. That's not reparations. Reparations.
Let me jump in when you finish, brother.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I agree. Let me just say I agree 100% with the brother just said, and Lord Ab, I want you to also touch on this because I have not yet heard our brother Tariq Nasheed or Yvette talk about what the brother's talking about. Like, where does the money go? What treasury does let's say they decide to say, yeah, let's go ahead and give them reparations. Who gets the money? Where does it go? Do it come in the form of check, like a Social Security or SSI or something like that, where every African American is able to get a check once a month or every 2 weeks? I don't know how they're going to do this. So, but nobody never really talked about that. And reparations only means to repair. Repair what? Repair the damage that was done to us as a people, brother. That's what reparations means. So, Brother Lord Abba, touch on that for us, brother.
All right, thank you, sir. First, I want to start with the fact that we are citizens of the United States of America. We don't have to form no body politic. The Japanese Americans didn't have to form a body politic. When Japanese Americans were interned in this country under the false pretense that they was going to join the nation of Japan and attacking the United States of America, when they received reparations, they were not some body politic. These people were United States citizens that were violated by the United States government. The United States didn't pay money to the Japanese government. They never paid them money for dropping bombs, right? They never paid them reparations for Hiroshima and what was the Nagasaki? Oh, I can't remember the other one, but y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So that premise is false. That's the first thing that I want to touch on. How will we get the money? Again, I'll use the Japanese Americans as an example. You can Google, and everybody, we've been talking about this stuff for the past 6 years. We came on your channel talking about it, sir, but you have so many different people coming on. It's pushed to the back of your memory. So I'm here to help jog your memory a little bit, brother. Right?
Jog it up, brother.
No doubt. So if you Google right now, and I want everybody that's listening to Google this, Japanese American reparations check. You're going to see images of these checks that came directly from the United States government that went to every single individual that was harmed. If that individual was deceased, it went to their child. If that bloodline died off somehow, that money went into some trust for the Japanese Americans. The United States of America already knows how to do reparations. There's a website, the University of Massachusetts Amherst. It has a list, and I'll put that link in the back chat as soon as I mute up. It has a list of every single time this country, states within this country, churches, and communities paid reparations to people. Like, this isn't some novel idea. Most of us are new to it. And brother, I hear you talking and I hear your passion. And, we can have the debate and the discussion. When I debate, I always, at the end of it, hope that the person that I'm debating is going to take from my presentation and say, you know what, let me correct the things that was wrong in myself, because I've done that over the years. And I just think that you need to correct your presentation, because it's not all the way historically accurate. You ran off a bunch of dates. That doesn't mean nothing in the context of your presentation and the talking points and the narrative that you're presenting here on sa.neter TV. So I would love to come on here and have the debate with you. Y'all visit my website. I'm going to end with this, usadof.org. Y'all click on our 12-point program, and y'all going to see, for those of you that rock with us and know what we're doing, that everything that we're setting out to do, we're doing. What JJ was talking about free healthcare and all of those different things, all of that is in our 12-point program. The first 2 points of that 12-point program, we're working right now, but it's only a handful of us. Reparations is reparations. Restitution is a part of reparations. I'll mute up.
So I wanted to ask this because you have made mention of that again, that like some of those things are miscued, but history is political. Historians build narratives, right? So until you get your own historians, you're always going to be on the end of the stick. So what I did was build a historical narrative for you, and it is most definitely factual. It's most definitely factual. And you can, every single element of it, you can go look it up. I gave credible sources where you can find all of those things that I put out. And again, this is an African proverb. Until the lion starts writing his own history, the hunter will always be the victor. You see what I'm saying? So we have to put it on record. The nation that was attacked, that was destroyed and dismantled, was the Maroon community, the organized Maroon communities. They were called, they're called Americans, but they're called Americans on their own volition. That's them. Okay, we are in that same spirit. We are those American people. You see what I'm saying? So again, reparations is due to nations that attack other nations. When Japan got attacked, guess what? The United States did give them reparations and help restore some of the devastation after the war. And they gave their peoples monies. So yeah, I agree 100%. But the money was given for restoration to their nation. And it was stuff given to individual, but the nation got restored. You understand? And that's what we're asking for, is the reparation and the restoration of our nation, independent and autonomous, you know what I'm saying, with or without the United States. And I don't think that's something.
I'll say this. 15 seconds, brother. What I'm going to do, because I'm listening to you, I'm going to give a presentation on sa.neter, and I'm going to unravel your presentation. And I want to know, if I do that, and I will do that, are you willing to accept those corrections? I just want to know, because you could paint whatever narrative you want. The facts can be verified. Yeah, say it again.
Yeah, unravel it for what? For what purpose?
Oh, because it's not right and exact, brother. That's why. So what I'm asking is,
okay, so,
wait. I'm asking is, if I do
in
that,
the historical narrative.
I just want to ask my question, and I'll mute up and get off the stage.
I just want to know if you believe that the historical narrative of this country is 100%.
But say it again.
Do you believe the historical narrative of this country is 100% correct?
I mean, in what context? What does that mean exactly?
I mean, do you believe that the historical narrative that is fed to our people in the schools, in academia, do you 100% correct?
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So, for the most part, the historical narrative.
Yes or no question.
No, it's not a yes or no question. It's not. Because for the most part, yeah, but see, that a question like that requires a nuanced answer, because you had the Daughters of the Confederacy that rewrote the Civil War history, and they started using propaganda, which leaked into our textbooks. And instead of calling it the Civil War, they called it the War of Northern Aggression. So things have to have context. Every question is not a yes or no. Or deserves a yes or no answer. Some things have to be explained. Wait. We've had our own.
Lord Abbott, you haven't been in the ring in a long time, brother.
Say it again.
You haven't been in the ring in a long time.
I was just last year beating up on Katazal.
I think it's time, brother. I think it's time.
I was just beating up Katazal. Like, okay, the brother. I'm trying to help the brother, but if he wants to have a debate on his narrative, it's not going to go well. I'm telling y'all right now, it's not going to go well.
I never said anything about a debate. All I did was ask you to expound on your clarifications. And
well, I did already. I was responding to sa.neter.
Even though every single source that I pulled from were replicable, credible sources from colleges, universities, and other academic sources, and you're saying that they're historically wrong. They're historically
wrong. That's not what I'm saying.
Calm down, Lord. Calm down, brother.
But that's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that, JJ. I didn't say that.
You said a lot of the stuff that I said was historically wrong. Those were your
that's
words.
Right. The narrative that you're painting is historically inaccurate.
What part? The Maroons, the Americans, the 1812, the insurrections. What part are you claiming is incorrect?
All of it. The way you wait. Let me answer the question. Let me answer the question, brother.
The 1804 was not the Haitian Revolution. All that was part of my. That's part. You're saying that Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry Truman didn't create and bring in the welfare state principles into the United States. That's what you're saying. You're saying I'm incorrect about if you are a U.S. citizen that you are part of the United States. The United States is a welfare state, so that makes you a welfare state. That's a lie. That's what you're saying. That's made up.
Come on, Lord Abbott, man.
Listen, I'm trying to respond.
The definitions of nation and tribe are incorrect. Right, because this is part of all of it. When you say that this is incorrect, you're saying that this right here, the home of the free and the home of the braves, this right, all of this stuff is wrong. The war, the aftermath of war, 1812, that's wrong. You're saying that Nicholas didn't give the Black Fort Negro over to the Negroes. You're saying that didn't happen, even though this comes from reputable sites. This is academia. So what are you
Can I respond? Hold on. Can I respond? Yes or no? He just going.
All right. Hold on.
Just let me respond real quick, sir.
All right, hold on. Hey, yo, I got a couple of more minutes because I got coming on.
I got you. I got you.
2 minutes. Let's go.
I want everybody to think about when I first came on and what I said. You got to pay attention. I said the brother used actual historical references and twisted them into his narrative. That's exactly what I said. But if you're not listening, you're not going to catch that. This won't be a debate, JJ. This will just be a class.
What part?
Set it up.
What part, brother?
Set it up. Don't worry. Marcus Garvey made us a nation. JJ, set it up. I'm a dip. Peace. Set it up. Set it up. No, he didn't. How is a man that the United States deported? Man, set it up, JJ. We're gonna do it right here on sa.neter.
Yeah, right here on sa.neter. I'm hosting though, so let me host.
Must not be our first president general. Man, shut up. Black power in this. Man, stop playing with me.
Right.
Stop playing with black nationalists.
Correct. Get in the building. Go ahead. I think you got to close out now because you got to do another show.
The problem is we want to make reparations way overcomplicated. What our brother did was display why we need them. Lord Albert, you're going to have a reason why we need them, and you're going to clash, and I want to see the debate. But this is the problem. We need schooling with it. Oh, we need land to come with that. Oh, we need it. No. Cut me a check. I will decide what land I buy. I will decide what country I want to live in. I will decide where I want to move. It needs to be enough money for me to sustain myself if I'm in a retirement age. And that's all there is to it. We can't keep putting this on top of that, on top of this, on top of that. When they gave the reparations in Florida, it wasn't this on top of that, on top of this, on top of that. It was a lump sum of money. And they were able to not only start businesses and things of that nature from that money.
All right. You got to let them close out now. Let him close out. Close out, my brother. What it is. Close out, my brother.
Hey, put him on the big screen, son. Put him on the big screen.
And in closing, again, I want to point out the integrationalist, demonic and insidious vision of the Black African American nation as a dependent, as a succulence at the table of abomination. We are a proud people, and we will fight and resist until we have no more life left in our bodies. And we will fight against the dying of the light, the disintegration of our ancestral and our communal spirits. We will fight against that. We're going to rally together. We're going to create group economic programs to help sustain ourselves. We are not going to sit around and keep begging people for things that is old. We just going to take it. So in that closing, I want to say shout out to all the Black nationalist organizations that's out there that's still putting up a fight against resistance. They're putting up a fight resisting oppression, colonialism, the destruction of our African identities, or our indigenous identities, or tribal identities. And I just want to say hope Islam, peace, Jambo to all of the African families out there. And y'all stay blessed up and always keep it and know that the resources of Africa is not the land and the gold up under its feet, but is the collective oral histories and traditions of our people that make us so rich and wealthy.
Peace, brother. And don't let nobody discourage you. Excellent presentation, brother. Excellent.
Yeah, well,
all right. So peace and Black power. We out of here, y'all. The link is in the chat. Come on over across the street. You're going to see Uncle Cat. Get it in. He going at JJ Mandinka and Indigenous Black Man. Let's get it.